If you keep missing the same shot in the same place over and over again, then you might not be doing anything wrong. Instead, the way you perceive angles can create an illusion on some specific shots. This isn't the exact problem, but it explains how it works. Because if I want to pot the blue here, then I need the white to strike the blue completely full. And of course you can do something similar with shots that are at an angle. I need the white to strike exactly half of the pink here in order to pot it. To pot this red, I'm going to need to strike exactly 3/4 of it, and this black requires exactly a quarter ball contact. The problem comes, however, when you get a shot that isn't exactly one of these angles. On a shot like this one, if I play a 3/4 ball angle, I miss to that side of the pocket, but if I play exactly the same shot with a half ball angle, I miss by about the same amount to the other side of the pocket. Now I could play it exactly in between, but it's actually this that your brain has real difficulty allowing for. This means you know the direction the object ball needs to take in order to get it to the pocket, but you can't see how the cue ball needs to contact the object ball to make it move in this direction. Obviously this won't be exact potting angles, but you might find yourself in a position, like here on the black for example, where you can see the shot. You know exactly where the white needs to strike the black in order to pot it. And for example, you might be able to do the same thing from here. You know exactly where you need to strike the black in order to pot it from this position. But if you end up in between, you might not know one of these angles, so your brain's going to have to make a decision about which one it actually plays, and it might go for the one that's slightly too thin, and it'll keep doing that, so you'll keep missing in the same place. Nothing will improve your game more than being able to see a wider variety of angles. So here's a few ways that will help you do that. But first we need to discover the exact angles you're having difficulty seeing. And so what you want to do is play a little bit of snooker for a while and work out if there's any common shot that you keep missing and it keeps coming up and it seems to be roughly the same angle. And if it is, that's one you definitely want to be practicing. You might want to write the shots you missed down when you're doing this. So for example, that was a little bit thinner than a 3/4 ball cut to the left hand side. Then when you find an angle you've missed twice, you know this is something you probably want to practice. Now this does require a bit of concentration because this specific angle on the green, for example, might not quite look the same as this red into the middle pocket, for example. In fact, they don't look much like each other at all. But they are both about a 3/4 ball cut to the left-hand side. Now if you're missing shots like this, and you work out they're exactly the same, either by writing this down or just simply remembering it, then it's time to learn the angle and give this a practice by setting up this exact angle and playing it a number of times. This might help me learn the angle, although then again it might not, because I still can't see exactly where I'm aiming. So if that's the problem, what you can do to help you see the right angle is to try and pick where you're aiming back from the table, and hopefully by the time you get there you'll still be aiming at the right place, and then you're going to pot the ball. But if this doesn't happen, it's probably because when you're on the shot you still can't see this exact angle. You might be able to see an angle again to hit it slightly too thick or slightly too thin, but not the one in the middle. Now it isn't because this angle is harder than others, but from your position behind the cue ball, sometimes it's difficult to imagine where the cue ball needs to go in order to get the object ball to go towards the pocket. And if you can't see where the cue ball needs to go, then you have no chance of potting it, and you'll probably end up missing in exactly the same place every time. The way to solve this is to look along the line the object ball needs to take in order to get to the pocket. Then simply imagine the cue ball behind this. You can then move into position in line with the shot, keeping in mind this position. And then if you get into the position where you're focused on getting the white to where it needs to go, you should be able to make sure you pot the ball. But if you don't, this will probably be because when your body doesn't like something, it starts to tense up on the shot. And if this happens, you're not going to play the shot anywhere near where you're aiming. So try and stay focused on the angle you need to pot the ball and just keep relaxed. And if you follow all three of these things, then hopefully you'll be able to pot this angle and see exactly where you're aiming. Once you can finally see the angle, just practicing it a few times will eliminate it as a problem. And to be truthful, you'll only have a problem like this on a few different angles. You'll be able to see most of them just fine. So once you do this with about 3 different angles, you should be able to see all the shots a lot better. Ultimately, this reduces the chances of you ending up in a position where you can't pot the ball because you can't see the right angle. And that's going to increase the amount of balls you're able to pot consistently, which means bigger breaks. Let's quickly find Dustin, who's in Watertown, Minnesota, which is there. But of course, just because you can see exactly where the white needs to go, like on this straight shot for example, doesn't mean you have the ability to get it there. The 2 biggest reasons for this is you might not be able to line the cue up where you're aiming, or the cue ball itself might not be striking the part of the object ball you think it is, causing the shot to go just a little bit offline. But I've got a couple of videos here that show you how to deal with both of these problems, even allowing you to see if you're aiming straight or not. And remember, don't just watch, play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later.